call to order this meeting of the Maine Township Board. I first would like to ask that we all stand safe for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here we have a roll call.
Assessor Moyle Fry. Commissioner Bouvet. Here. Clerk Giovanni is here. Supervisor Diamond.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Horvath.
Here.
Trustee Maher. Here. Trustee Malik.
Yes. Thank you very much. And welcome to our October board meeting. We're going to get started now. We have a lot to do, and hopefully we'll get through this fairly quickly. All right, may I first have a motion to approve the minutes of September 28th, 2021 bill pay review.
Motion to approve the minutes of September 28, 2021 bill pay review. Waive the reading. Second.
Any discussion? And a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. Thank you. I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 28th, 2021 regular board meeting.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 28th, 2021 board meeting.
Second.
Any comments on that? All right, may I have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher. Yes. Trustee Malik.
Yes. Now I have approval for the minutes of the October 5th, 2021 agency funding special meeting.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the minutes of October 5th, 2021 agency funding special meeting.
Do
Second.
I have a second?
Yeah, second.
Okay, I have a second. Any corrections or comments? All right, may I have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Now may I have a motion to approve the general assistance expenditure?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of October 1st, 2021 and October 15th, 2021, and general assistance checks number 53698 through check number 53744 in the amount of $48,856.46.
Second.
Any discussion on that? May I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. Thank you. I'll have a motion to approve the road district expenditures.
Make a motion to approve the payroll for pay dates of October 1st, 2021 and October 15th, 2021, and road district checks number 22076 through check number 22112 in the amount of $223,677.72.
Second.
All right, and any corrections or comments on that? Roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. And finally, do we have a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll for pay dates of October 1st, 2021 and October 15th, 2021, and general town fund checks number 59003 through check number 59063 in the amount of $269,843.48.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about that? One more roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. All right, thank you all. Now it's that portion of our meeting where we allow public participation. I do have a sign-in sheet for public participation, but I don't see any requests on it, so we will move on to the next item, and that is a presentation by the Metropolitan Waste Reclamation District. And I anybody have any preliminary remarks? I know we have a guest here. Perhaps we should just start with our guest? Yes, why don't you please step up, please. Thank you very much. And if you would introduce yourself when you get up here, too.
Sure.
I will say, as a preliminary matter, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District did do a very similar presentation for the members of the previous board. And I know they spent a lot of time talking to us about that, or talking to the board, that is. Of course, the majority of the current board is new, and most of us have not seen this. I know some people on the board and our elected officials have, so this will be a repeat for them. But I very much appreciate the district going through this information again with us, because it's a big project. It could be very important to our township, and I think we all want to be well informed about it. So thank you for attending again to present this information.
Sure, and thank you for having me here. My name is Pedro Ortiz, and I'm a senior civil engineer with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And as the supervisor was saying, we did a very similar presentation to the previous board around this time last year. Due to some issues getting funding to complete the project, the final design, we're now at a point where we've got those funds and we're looking to move forward with the project, and we're looking to see if we can get some buy-in from the township as far as what we're looking for on their end, so we can move forward with finalizing the project. So this is for a flood control project on Farmers and Prairie Creek in Maine Township and Park Ridge. There's 5 sub-project locations within this project. You can see on the map FRCR 1, FRCR 9, FRCR 4, FRCR 8, and FRCR 7. These are sub-projects that were all developed with the hopes of doing them all at once so that we can get the benefits for the original detailed watershed plan that was done back in 2011. So a little project background. Flood control studies were done dating back to the 1980s by the United States Army Corps of Engineers and IDNR for both Farmer and Prairie Creek. In February 2001 Lower Des Plaines River Detailed Watershed Plan, the MWRD identified a potential flood control project in the Farmers and Prairie Creek sub-watershed. And this preliminary engineering project was selected by the Board of Commissioners for the MWRD because of its positive benefit to cost ratio. The preliminary engineering phase confirmed the project's feasibility, and the project was selected to move forward with final design engineering. So a little bit of the project overview and purpose. I'll start with the Prairie Creek first. Primarily in Prairie
Mr. Ortiz, do you think you could go back to that first map?
Sure.
So those of us who aren't real familiar with Prairie Creek is, so what are we talking about? Which area are we talking about?
Okay, so this is Prairie Creek here. This is Prairie Creek here running from east to west, and this is Farmers Creek running north to south. And they meet up here near the expressway, and they flow out to the Des Plaines River. There's a lot of flooding within Park Ridge and Maine Township along Prairie Creek, and there's coupled with that, there's flooding due to Farmers Creek, which ties into Lake Marianne. Most of the work for Farmers Creek all of the work actually, is concentrated at Lake Marianne, and the work along Prairie Creek runs through portions of Maine Township and Park Ridge.
Thank you.
Sure. So the first portion that's within Maine Township is FRCR 9, and that's Prairie Creek running from Greenwood Avenue to Parkside Drive. So I apologize for the low resolution of these pictures, but this is the first location of work. This is along Greenwood Avenue. This is a Greenwood Avenue here, running north-south, and this is Ballard Road. There's, I believe, there's a Walgreens here, and Prairie Creek runs behind it. And there's a property here that's got a riprap, which is just stone to prevent erosion, that's always washing out. And the first small portion of this project would be to replace that riprap with some articulated matting, which is concrete.
Mr. Sure, Keith, we all go through that intersection, or many of us go through that intersection at Greenwood and Ballard. And it's been torn up for a long time. What's going on there, and how is that connected to this project, or is it connected?
The work that's going on there now is not connected to this project. We would go in there and we would do additional work. There's two portions of work near that intersection. It's this here, which is very minor behind, like I said, this Walgreens here along Greenwood. But then the next location, this is Ballard Road here. This is Ballard Road, and there's a detention pond that's here at the intersection of Ballard Road and Greenwood. It's behind the Tony Spiner Food, I believe. There's a lot of flooding at this condominium here. There's 4 condominium buildings here. I know that they suffer a lot of flooding when it rains. That's due to this pond, because this pond naturally drains on the south end of these condos, and then it comes back up between the condominium buildings actually, and then runs to the west. I'm going to just do that. So right now it currently drains on the south end, goes through these buildings, and then continues draining to the west. But what this project proposed to do would be we would install a new pipe to drain this. We would leave this as is, but we would add this new pipe to drain the detention basin during rains, to drain in front of these buildings. We would end up opening this area up. Right now it's this grass area. And this would be similar to what's there now. We would be replacing these 5 culverts, and we would hope that this would assist in draining this area to prevent flooding around Ballard and Greenwood Avenue. The next location of work is at Parkside Drive. This is Parkside here, and currently the creek flows through here in a pipe. It's currently buried, and our work would be to come in here and open this area up. Doing so would allow more water to flow through there a lot easier than being constrained to the pipe that it's in now. This is FRCR 8. In this area, it's more regrading. There's also 2 culverts that would be replaced, and a pedestrian bridge that would also be replaced under this project. There's some retaining walls that would be put up, and some riprap that would be added near the culverts and near the pedestrian bridge. Again, this is just to improve the flow of water through here so that there's less impediments throughout the creek, and that there's less susceptibility to flooding. There's 2 remaining sub-locations of the project. Those are FRCR 7 and FRCR 4. FRCR 7 is the Dempster Street sewer. That work would be in Park Ridge, and FRCR 4, that's at Lutheran General Hospital. That's also in Park Ridge, where we're enlarging their detention pond and putting in a pump station. So for Maine Township, it's primarily FRCR 8 and FRCR 9 that we would want to do within Maine Township, in addition to FRCR 1, which is the work at Lake Marianne. So with all these proposed projects together, they will lower the maximum water levels of a 1% annual probability storm by approximately a foot. They would provide benefits to approximately 125 structures. They would reduce flooding on Dempster Street, and they would reduce the average annual damages by approximately $1 million a year. Current project status of the Prairie Creek portion. An MWRD consultant has developed drawings to 90% completion. A new consultant would be needed to be hired to complete these drawings. This was the reason why we weren't able to move forward last year. The cost of doing so was actually more than we anticipated. We have an on-call engineering service that we thought we could use, but most of the budget would have gone just to this project on its own. So we had other internal things that needed to get done ahead of time, like within our own treatment plant. So we had to develop our own separate contract just for this project to complete the work. There's some additional work that needs to be done at Lutheran General Hospital. They have some additional needs that aren't shown. Currently, they're looking to develop some additional parking, and they will need additional retention, and that needs to be factored in when we do this design. Right-of-way easements need to be obtained. I think in total there's about 53 easements that we need for this project. And I want to say we have 13, so all those easements need to be acquired. We need to acquire various permits through IDNR, Army Corps of Engineers. And we're looking for an IGA between Maine Township and Park Ridge to execute the project so we can move forward with it.
So, Mr. Vititius, if I may stop you just for a minute.
Sure.
So, we cannot go through with this project unless Park Ridge agrees, is that right?
The way we do these projects now is that if, we can't move forward if either Maine Township or Park Ridge don't agree to the tentative terms of the IGA, we cannot move forward with the project.
And where are you with Park Ridge now?
Park Ridge has indicated that they're on board with the project.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that's because we both have easements, something like that?
Yeah.
Easement rights?
Yeah, both of you guys, right.
Okay.
So, to date, the MWRD has spent approximately $2 million on the study and the design of projects. And like I said before, we go through with hiring another consultant to finish the design. We're looking to see if Maine Township and Park Ridge would be on board with moving forward. So, maintenance requirements for Maine Township. So, Maine Township would be required to maintain all the improvements within its jurisdictional boundaries. That includes the creek itself, culverts, retaining walls, and any new vegetation that's planted. The maintenance activities would include annual inspections of the creeks, biannual inspection of the culverts and bridges, inspection of all the improvements after significant storm events, annual mowing, and debris removal as needed. And obviously any repairs to any damages along the work sites. Moving on to the work at Farmers Creek. I'll show you guys a picture. Go back to that. So the work at Farmers Creek is primarily on Lake Marianne. We would be repairing an inlet structure for Lake Marianne, and the intention of the project would be to install a new drainage pipe, larger pipe. Currently, there's two 12-inch pipes draining that pond at a certain elevation. We will be replacing them with an 18-inch, a larger pipe at a deeper elevation, which the intent of that would be to lower the overall elevation of Lake Marianne by about 1.5 feet. So the major components of the project at Farmers Creek is a new inlet structure on the north side of Lake Marianne, new outlet structure on the south side of Lake Marianne, replace the existing 12-inch outlet pipes with a new 18 outlet pipe, and abandon the other 12-inch outlet pipe. We'd be replacing a 54-inch culvert. We would remove and replace two 54-inch metal pipes. And these improvements would protect 13 residents along Lake Marianne from 1% annual probability storm. So this is just a drawing of the work proposed at Lake Marianne, where we would install new piping to lower the overall levels of the lake. So this project's a little bit farther along. It's at 95% completion. It's pretty much shovel ready. We still need some additional right-of-way from the residents in that area. We still need to acquire some permits to do the work. And again, we're looking to acquire an IGA with Maine Township before we move forward with that project. So maintenance requirements for Farmers Creek. Again, Maine Township would be required to maintain all the project improvements outside of the IDOT right-of-way. This includes the inlet structure on the north side of Lake Marianne, the outlet structure on the south side of Lake Marianne, the new 18-inch pipe, and the twin 54-inch pipe south of Gulf Road. Maintenance would be, again, visual inspections biannually, and then after heavy storm events, cleaning debris as needed, and then performing inspections of the pipe every 5 years. One additional thing that came up recently is that the homeowner of the property where the 18-inch pipe is proposed to be installed has indicated to the MWRD that they're looking to sell their property. We think that it might be a good thing to do, is that would allow the township to be able to access the pipes for any sort of maintenance. So we would purchase the property and we would turn it over to Maine Township, but we would like to have the maintenance of that property, which is essentially just mowing the land. added to the requirements for Maine Township. The homeowner has indicated that the HOA up there is apparently willing to do the mowing on that property, but that's something that I can't confirm. It'd have to be worked out with the HOA. Again, so the next steps is that we're looking to negotiate a IGA. Under the IGA, the MWRD will complete the engineering design. We would obtain all the necessary permits. We would acquire all the necessary easements. We can coordinate all the potential utility relocations. We advertise the project and oversee the construction. And we would oversee the vegetation establishment that's required by the Army Corps of Engineers. And under this agreement, the local jurisdiction would own all the improvements installed by the project, and they would maintain all the improvements as required. So right now, the projected timeline is within 2021. We're looking to start moving forward with this IGA with both Park Ridge and Maine Township. We want to resume obtaining the easements, we want to start getting the permits, and most importantly, we want to hire a consultant so we can move forward and complete the design. And within 2021, 2022, the design will hopefully be completed. We'd obtain all the right-of-way and all the permitting we need, and we would advertise the project. And our hope is that by 2023, the project would be awarded and construction would begin. So that being said, I know there was a lot there to take in. Do you guys have questions?
Okay, I'll look to the board members first if you have any initial questions. I also want to have our highway commissioner, Mr. Bouvet, address us regarding the highway department's opinion about this project, as much of this work, this maintenance inspection work, would fall on the highway department. So I really, wanted to talk to you about your thoughts on this project and, the expense of the maintenance going forward. So, and I don't know if you're prepared to talk to us now, or if you have some questions.
Yeah, I mean, I have a brief statement after Mr. Ortiz is done presenting, but I just wanted to thank you for coming in and just say that hopefully we can come to an agreement and work out something that benefits both the MWRD, Maine Township, and our residents. So I think it's a good thing. Would you say that Lake Marion is the most shovel-ready of the projects that you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the original intent was to split these two projects up and to go forward with the Lake Marion work just because it was kind of ready to go. There's only 13 easements to acquire there. I mean, that still needs to get done, but it'd probably be a lot easier than getting all the different easements between Maine Township and Park Ridge along the long run of Prairie Creek. Yeah.
Just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say that after the completion of this, the projection is that the 100-year flood potential risk would go down by a foot?
Yes, that's the intention.
Wow. That seems pretty significant.
Yeah, it's estimated at a $15 million project, and that's as of 3 years ago. I think with the current rate, it's very likely closer to 20 million at this point. Yeah, it's a substantial project.
I would like to ask Nader, and if you would like to just briefly talk to us about complaints you might have received about flooding in the area, or if there's any other of our department heads who have experience with receiving those complaints.
This issue has been going on for years, way before my time, I guess. 15 to 20 years where the flood water backs up in Lake Marion. So they go over there and they plug those creek ends so it won't back up to the residents of the townhouses who are north of them. So this is a big problem. Will it be an improvement? I think so, yes. It's much needed. Like I said, the people of Lake Marion, they're probably all on board to get this done. I'm sure this will be all hands down.
Okay. And Kim, you sat on the prior board. Is it your recollection that the prior board was in favor of this also?
Yes.
And the delay was?
Well, I think we were waiting for Park Ridge to
Yeah, it was also due to our inability to get the completed design. Once we saw how much the complete design was going to cost us, we didn't have the funds to do that at the time. And by then, I think Maine Township's board had a turnover. So now we have to get Maine Township back on board before we move forward with the redesign, or the completion of the design.
As I recall, we had a unanimous vote in favor of it, especially the Prairie Creek job, the Prairie Creek project, because it's the one that's behind Tony's, because that condo building suffers a lot.
Yeah, it does. I get a call from a resident there maybe, for sure, once every 6 months, just asking where this project is at.
Yeah, and that's kind of tricky, because it's Des Plaines, Niles, Maine Township, Parkridge, all kind of like clustered right there. I think there were some boundary issues at the time, right?
There is, yeah, like especially the work at Greenwood across the street at the Walgreens. I don't know if it's Niles, Des Plaines.
Right.
But yeah, there were some issues there determining who would be the local.
Any additional questions from any board members?
And this timeline that you have is for both the projects? right?
It is for both the projects, yeah. Like I said, the Lake Mary Ann work is pretty far along. It's really just the Prairie Creek work that we need to kind of finalize and get a consultant on board to get all the final design down.
And if the township is interested, the district is willing to buy that parcel from the homeowner and turn it over to...
That's correct. Yeah, that would be the
You have to
intention.
maintain it.
Yeah, we would acquire the property ourselves, then we would turn it over to Maine Township, and then you would own and operate it from then on.
And we have a house.
There's no house on it now.
But I think where the pipe is placed would determine whether or not a house could be on the property in the future.
That's correct, yeah. That's why the property owner is interested in whether or not that would happen. Otherwise, if we don't purchase her home, she's going to look to sell it to a private developer, I would imagine. And then we're probably going to have issues as to where we're going to put this pipe and what sort of easement we're going to need. Because she's indicated that they want to build on it, and that if we can move our pipe just to the south or just to the north of center of the property, because they'd like to build a home there. We could still do that, but it'd just be a lot, it wouldn't be difficult, it'd just be a lot trickier to get in there when any meetings had to get done.
So she has a home there, but this is an additional lot she has? Is that what you're saying?
You know what, she's got a couple of lots down there, and she sold one already, and I think this is another one she's looking to, she sold one for development, and she's looking to sell this next one for development, but she knows that we're looking to do this project, and if we want to do the project, she's offering it to us first.
I just have a comment. I was in favor of this project when it came before. I think I was in the initial meetings when Bob Brzezinski was still here with us, and Wally, and we had a separate meeting, and I thought it was a good idea at the time. And I also served on the Park Ridge Flooding Task Control Board for 4 years under Mayor Dave Schmidt. And I mean, it's a legitimate issue, flooding in this area. So I'm pretty much in favor of any reasonable project that would alleviate flooding for everybody in this area. So.
Do you have more comments on this?
No, I just wanted to just reiterate, so this is completely no out-of-pocket expense for Maine Township. It would just be the maintenance costs.
Correct.
And, you know, scoping the sewer and, you know, cutting the grass and stuff like that, right?
Yes, the MWRD would take on all the costs of construction, and it's just a matter of getting an assurance from the local municipality that they're willing to own and maintain the improvements after.
Okay. And then did anyone else have any questions? Because I have our engineer Ted Ward here that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, if the construction begins in 2023, how long do you think it would take to complete all of these projects?
I think it would be 2025. I think it'd be a 2-year.
Okay, do you think the construction would be like impactful in any way, in a negative way on like the roads?
There's going to be traffic issues for sure, similar to what's kind of going on.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a quick question on Farmers Creek too. Is that the same thing as Lake Mary Ann? You call it the Farmers Creek aspect of the job, FRCR1.
Yeah.
Is that part of Lake Mary Ann issue?
Yeah,
Farmers Creek?
Farmers Creek runs along Lake Mary Ann.
I see, same type, same project.
thing. Yeah,
No
same thing.
difference, okay. As opposed to Prairie Creek, which is.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, thank you very much. I think we have another speaker, is that right?
Yes, I just wanted to call up our engineer, Title Ward. He had worked on this project and has some familiarity. I just wanted to give him a chance to speak and take questions on the issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me tonight. My name is Ted Ward. I'm with Spatial Engineering. I'm a project manager there. Been the township's engineer for the past 5 or 6 years now. So I am familiar with this issue. A little bit of background on it, since you had talked about the board changeover. We did meet about a year ago, a little bit over that, to go over this project at first. It was a split project at that time, which I'd be in favor of keeping it like that if possible. To leave the Farmers Creek work separate from the Prairie Creek work, because, as Ed had said, Farmers Creek work is more shovel ready, and it doesn't have nearly the entitlement issues that the Prairie Creek work does have. I think the MWRD will reach their goal of both projects coming to fruition, but it'd be nice to see work get started on Farmers Creek initially. On the Farmers Creek work, initially one of the problems that we had with the initial design from the MWRD was there was not much thought put into the inlet structure to Lake Mary Ann. As Mr. Ortiz brought up tonight, that is in consideration now. When the township enters into the IGA on this, we would want to make sure that the township is able to review the final plans for that work and give input on that portion of it. One of the issues that has come up in the current design of Lake Mary Ann is that the inlet becomes blocked, either intentionally or unintentionally. And we want to make sure that the final design for that work does not allow for the intentional blocking of that inlet. Mr. Ortiz said that it benefits the 13 properties of Lake Mary Ann, but because of this blocking, it actually impacts quite a few more properties upstream that would benefit from this project. On the Prairie Creek project, there's entitlement issues there that we think they can get through. It'll be a great benefit to the township to have that proceed. But I think that time frame of getting out to 23, 24 is probably more of a reality than, probably getting into construction a lot sooner with the Farmers Creek work. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, one of the issues too was the cost of maintenance on the last contract as well. Was that an issue?
Sure. So yeah, the first time we went through this iteration, the MWRD had presented a number of cost estimates related to each of the improvements, and with the last highway commissioner and last board, those costs, even though the project never made it to a project ready or shovel ready status, the estimates that were given to us were very safe estimates, I'll put it that way. They were substantially higher than we would anticipate the maintenance costs to actually be. And that's another reason why we want the township to have review capabilities in the final plans to make sure that there is nothing going into the plans that will adversely affect the cost implications to the township and the long term.
Do you recall what those estimates were, those cost estimates for each one of the projects?
I do not. I would have them in my records, but I did not think to bring it tonight.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think previously, the Farmers Creek, the Lake Mary Ann maintenance costs, I think we had estimated somewhere on the order of $2,000 a year. And I think the Prairie Creek portion, we had estimated something along the order of $15,000 a year, something like that.
15?
15, yes. But I didn't want to say that. Our management at the MWRD wanted me to stress that the final dollar figure cannot really be determined at this point because there is final design still yet to do. But as requested, we would definitely include the township in reviewing of the design. You would have to say in what's going to go in, obviously in your municipality. So yes, that would be part of the agreement that the township would have review time to look at the drawing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Before you sit down, anyone have any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. Once again, back to it, as I look through this presentation, I see 2 pages that relate to maintenance requirements. One's for Prairie Creek and one's for Furnace Creek. Have you looked those over? Can you tell us what your thoughts are on how much time, effort, and money this would require?
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that would have to be, we'd all have to sit down and discuss. I mean, it's my hope that we can reach an agreement that's beneficial to all of us, and something that the staff is able to handle. Right now, we are a little short-staffed, but hoping to change that. And also, hopefully we can figure out something that's maybe beneficial between the highway department and town hall to maybe assist with some of the expenses on maintenance issues. So other than that, I think it's great. I hope that we can move forward with it.
So what you just pointed out is one reason I was trying to get an estimate as to what those annual expenses are. Mr. Ortiz, is that something that you would have in your records, or because what we're seeing tonight tells us what we need to do, but if there were annual expenses that were calculated at some time in the past, we don't have those now.
Yeah, I could find what was put together last time before the last meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but just, again, I want to stress that we won't really know until we've got the final for them. Once we have everything finalized, then we'll know, okay, this is what we're going to need to do to perform maintenance.
Okay.
But we don't expect it to be a significant cost.
All right, good. So what, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Ortiz, if you would just step up here again for a second, just make sure everyone can hear you. So in terms of the next step, what we need to do next, we haven't voted on it, but I seem to sense a general support from the board. I haven't actually voted, so I don't know yet. But what would be the next step? Would you give us a draft intergovernmental agreement, or would we get what our engineer is asking for, Mr. Ward, the specifications?
The next step would be the draft intergovernmental agreement. I think that would be the first thing that the MWB would want, is to enter into that. And within there, we can add language that we're going to provide the design, we're going to provide the estimate as we go along. But by having that IGA signed and executed between both parties, we can know that we're in this agreement, and we can proceed with getting the final design done. We can spend the money knowing that the project's going to happen.
Okay, all right. So we don't have anything in front of us to vote on right tonight.
Okay.
But I am going to ask each of the board members if you would just sort of indicate if this is something you're generally in favor of. This is not a binding vote, but we don't ask Mr. Ortiz to go through all this work unless, this is something that we feel generally in support of.
I wasn't at the board meeting, obviously Kim could speak to this, but they mentioned there's some entitlement issues. Some of the homeowners, or whatever they want to call them, may have rights. Was condemnation never discussed as a possible extreme alternative if people won't cooperate? Like, let's say some of these owners who have rights won't cooperate. I'm wondering if that ever came up, condemnation is an option.
Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, you have condemnation rights, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that condemnation power, the power of condemnation.
Okay. So that wouldn't stop the project from going forward if any particular homeowner said no. And they'd be forced to sell, basically. Is that right?
That's my understanding. The district would have to compensate them, but yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one individual, I guess, wants to sell potentially, you meant.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, there's actually another individual too, farther downstream, who's also talked to us about selling the property.
All right, so that won't be a hindrance then. Okay.
All right. Asif, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, my concern is, make sure, our highway commissioner department and engineer, they involved in that. And what his concern was, the engineer, and the final design should be they consult with the engineer, and the highway commissioners. So whenever they finalize the design, so make sure our engineer and the highway commissioner involved in that.
All right. So, Mr. Ortiz, we're looking for a draft intergovernmental agreement from you and these design specifications that we referred to. And also, we would like the cost estimates that were previously prepared. If you can forward those to us too.
Of course.
And then we'll have some discussions, myself and our highway commissioner. We'll talk a little bit more about the structure of these expenses. And then we'll, if all goes well, I don't know if we'll be able to bring it before the board in our next meeting, but as soon as possible, as soon as we have something that we can sign off on.
Okay.
We'll put that on our agenda.
That's great, that's
Okay.
kind of what we wanted to achieve here.
All right. Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is our monthly presentation by one of our department heads, right?
Okay, good evening. My name is Marie Daknewski, and I am the Director of the Maine Streamer Program. The Maine Township Senior Program has been in existence for over 30-plus years. The program offers a variety of opportunities for residents 55 and older. Membership is free and includes a bi-monthly newsletter which details all activities for the upcoming months. Members pay individually for the activities in which they want to participate in. The mission goal of the Maine Streamer Department is to offer a variety of classes, programs, day trips at cost to members. We offer approximately 3 to 4 day trips per month, which may include theater outings, architectural tours, museums, boat rides, baseball outings, and many others. Besides the day trips, we also develop and escort a few overnight trips, which are very popular amongst our members because they are offered at cost. This year, due to the pandemic, we were only able to develop one overnight trip, which will be this coming December to the Ostock Resort Christmas Market in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Besides the overnight trips that we plan, we also provide extended travel through American Classic Tours, a family-owned company that we have been working with for over 30 years. In addition to day trips and overnight trips, we also have a variety of programs such as educational programs, fitness classes, and a variety of fun recreational activities. Some of the examples of educational programs we offer are AARP driver safety classes, the Secretary of State Rules of the Road classes, Medicare 101 programs, various informative programs, computer classes, and balance classes. Some examples of recreational activities are bingo, day at the races, movies, twilight dining, luncheons, and any other special events that we develop and create. We also do have yoga classes and senior aerobics available. The last year and a half has been very challenging to all, but believe it or not, we found 2 positive things from this pandemic. The first was Zoom, which during the lockdown allowed us to continue a variety of our programs. Zoom programs were very important for our members because it allowed them to be safe and socially engaging during those difficult times. We are continuing to offer some of these programs on Zoom. The second, and probably the biggest positive, was our Maine Township parking lot. We definitely found a low-cost venue, free, to host many of our programs. This gave us an opportunity to get creative in programming during the summer months, from hosting an 8-week line dance class to tailgate bingos, Polish night, a variety of concerts, and our second annual autumn social. These outdoor programs were a hit among our members. They were held in the evening and allowed members to socialize, enjoy the outdoors, and make many new friends. We definitely will continue hosting these summer events in our parking lot. When planning our programs, we try to support local businesses. Within the next few months, we will be hosting an American English concert at the Prairie Lakes Theater, luncheons at Manzo's and Chateau Ritz, a movie at the Pickwick Theater, informative luncheons at Club Casa, working with the Brickton Art Center on various art projects, as well as twilight dinings at local restaurants. Also, we met with the owner of the new Des Plaines Theater, Ron Onesti, and are very excited and look forward to hosting some future Maine Township events at this new facility. And last of all, I would like to thank the board for coming out to our outdoor events this past summer. So many of our members have commented how much they enjoyed seeing and talking to the board members, so thank you for that. And do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Marie. Any questions from the board members?
Where's the Des Plaines Theater, Marie?
It's right on Minor Street. It's where the old movie theater used to be, and it's absolutely beautiful inside.
Old.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Downtown Des Plaines.
Downtown Des Plaines, yep. And
Yeah,
they're opening up
Sunday
this weekend, I think, right?
Sunday night, yeah.
David Costner Band.
That's something.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. He'll have like the main room, and then there's a little like a speakeasy lounge area outside the auditorium.
Take advantage of that, huh?
Right. Okay, well, thank you.
And Marie has something in common with the Water Reclamation District, because she's had to deal with excessive rainfall. Recently. Yeah, we had
Had a couple weeks.
Yesterday, there was a small flood. Well, I mean, there was, everyone knows how hard it was raining yesterday. And it was leaking through the ceiling of the Main Streamer's office quite a bit. A number of ceiling tiles came down, crumbled, of course the carpet got wet. So just want to let you know, we'll probably have some capital expenditures in the future to, of course, repair the roof, repair the ceiling, look at that carpet. But you guys kept working as best you could despite that.
Yeah, after it stopped raining, it stopped pouring in. So, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, the next item we have on our agenda relates to personnel. I think this would be perhaps a you, Dana Murray, and Rich. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Did you want me to present or?
Yeah, well, either one of you or both of you perhaps could come up and explain the need for this change.
Okay, I think we're going to present.
Okay, all right. All right.
Everyone.
Thank you for stepping up regarding this. Can you tell us what we're going to be addressing here?
Sure. We have been struggling to replace our family therapists. As many of you know from the funding hearings, there's a shortage of mental health workers, and we are experiencing that in a way that we never had before. So as a result of that, we are asking the board to consider some hiring discretion. The timing of hiring people is really crucially important now because people are getting job offers the same day that they interview. They're being able to start the following day. We've lost a lot of people who were potentially interested in the positions, but they couldn't wait a couple days for the timing of it, and some of them certainly didn't want to wait a couple weeks to hear final approval from the board and then start a week or so later. So we're just asking the board to consider potentially giving us some discretion to hire some of our therapy positions in advance and potentially have them start in advance of a board meeting.
And so I understand what you're asking for is the discretion to choose the person who will fill the spot, but the salary has already been set. I mean, you already have directions as to the salary limits, and of course the position description is already set. So basically it would be just a matter of choosing the person to fill that spot and being able to make them a firm offer rather than waiting up to 30 days to get the authority to do that.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Any other comments or thoughts about these questions? All right. I don't know if we definitely need a motion for this, but can I have a motion to approve delegating discretion to the administrator along with the department head in this area to make a position, rather make a job offer to a candidate applying for any of these therapy positions. Is that covered?
It does.
Okay, maybe a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, again, I'm not sure we need a motion, but we'll do a roll call anyway.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
We understand it's a difficult job market, so we hope to get good news soon. Okay, moving on to our old business. I have mentioned before, and we've talked perhaps at one or two prior meetings about doing a cybersecurity audit. Just by the way, there's still no need to do the Open Meeting Act training because the website of the Attorney General is still there. So, did everyone hear that Ferrero Candy had their website? And I was so sad about it. Anyway, so I'm hoping this might help protect us some. So again, we're not entering into a contract tonight. We're simply issuing a request for proposals. But I'm hoping that by the next meeting we will have one for you to look at. We'll have a candidate or several candidates to look at that time. So just letting you know that that is going out. Then moving on to our discussion and possible vote on public relations consultant. So as we recall, at our last meeting, we interviewed 3 different firms about presenting, about serving as our public relations consultant. And we did choose one of them, but we did not at that time choose what level of service we would want, because the winner of our vote, that is Marty McAlpin and Robert Flynn, had several different levels of service that were possible. So we did not yet decide which one of those levels of service we wanted. So you all have in front of you a rate structure for different levels of service. One is the gold level, one is the silver, one is the bronze. Now there's been an added metal, copper, the copper level I'm going to call it, which is sort of a hybrid. I understand that the firm is willing to give us another option. That is an option that is basically the silver option, but without the direct mail newsletter. So that's a 4th option that we can look at. The gold one is $4,000 a month or $48,000. The silver is $3,250 a month or $39,000 on an annual basis. The copper level, as I'm calling it, is $2,850 a month or $34,200 on an annual basis. And the bronze level is $2,500 per month or $30,000 on an annual basis. So I want to turn it over to the other board members now to express any opinions you might have about these 4 options that we have here. And then I'll also ask other elected officials, because you too, of course, are affected by whatever public relations consultant we might have. And I noticed that our consultants are here this evening, and so they are available to answer any questions. In fact, I'm going to ask you to step up to the microphone. I don't know that there'll be any questions, but in case there are, you'll be right up there, if you don't mind.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. So we've also received a draft contract from our consultants. That is not in front of you right now. We need to work out the details in it and bring it back. The pricing details and some other details of the contract. So we'll be back with that. But before we can even write it up, we really need to know what level of service the board is interested in. So I open it up to the board members to express any opinion they might have about what level of service they would like to see.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, when we were presented with this initially, the one that, struck me was the silver option. But knowing that, we have staff here that enjoy doing the newsletter, that would need to come out. So I think, this new option would be sort of what I would be interested in, which is essentially the silver minus the newsletter. In looking at the bottom option, one of the reasons that this company, opposed to the other ones, struck out to me was because of the video option and, the blog. And so those are more available in the silver option and not as much in the bronze. And so those were some of the things that I was sort of excited about and looking forward to. So I would hate to give those up. So I think that this new option is sort of what I'm leaning towards.
Okay, all right. Anyone else like to voice an opinion?
Okay.
Yeah, Asif?
Yeah.
Yes, Asif.
I second Kelly, but I have a question about this video option, because let's say once a month, we have no video, no program. So can we add to the next month this one? It's been just yearly, let's say 36 videos.
Basically, yes, and that's being reflected in the contracts that we're working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was leaning towards the bronze initially until Kelly made her points, and she's right. Because the fee for service for video, which is an important component, I think, of our outreach, I guess I missed that. So we would be getting a lot more. And if we asked for videos, and that it would be probably more expensive to do it separately, individually. So I think Kelly, you're onto something here. And I would tend to agree. I think I would go for the copper.
Any other thoughts?
I don't really have a strong opinion on this, but my first choice was the silver. I didn't think the price difference from the gold to the silver was that extreme. So I would choose the silver over the copper just because I think these gentlemen were a strong preference for us. And I think they'll do a good job. So I think the extra money makes people work harder potentially. So, but the copper or the silver is okay with me. But as I said, I'm not strong opinion.
So I think I would go with the copper level too. And so what I'm hearing is sort of a consensus, or not a consensus, but pretty much a majority here for the copper level, not a consensus. And so I don't think we actually need a vote on that right now. We'll drop the contract with that level of service in mind and work out some of the other details. And then we'll be able to bring it back to the board for final sign-off at our next meeting, I anticipate. Do you have any questions, or do any of the board members have any questions or comments that they want to make? All right, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, the next thing on your agenda is a discussion on the internal auditing services. So, as you may know, we have had the same auditing firm do some regular, I might even say daily, but certain frequent frequent accounting services for us. So we have this firm come in and they do a lot of accounting work for us. And the same accounting firm has been doing our audit. And I have expressed some concern about that. I want to say that our accounting firm, I think they're doing a good job. I don't want to disparage them in any way. They've served us for a while, but I think it's just more fiscally responsible to have an independent auditing service reviewing the accounting work that's been done throughout the course of the year. So I've asked that our administrator prepare and our attorneys review this request for a proposal for audit services. Now, our audit won't be coming around until next May. I think that's when it's usually done. So it's not imminent, but I'm told that some of these accounting firms that do public government accounting, they book up, and if you wait till the last minute, you might not be able to get on their schedule. They might not make a bid for your work. And that's why I'm bringing it to you this early. I do plan to send out this request, but I want to let you know ahead of time, if you have any concerns about the types of services we're asking the auditing firm to prepare, or there's other concerns that you have, rather than, I don't want to wait until the last minute and, have you learn about it for the first time when we ask you to vote on it. So that's why I just wanted to give you a copy of this now. If there's any concerns that you have. So, if you know of any firms that do this type of work, you can certainly alert them to the fact that this will be on our website, and it'll tell them when they have to apply by, November 20th, so they have a few weeks. So this will be coming up at I anticipate at our next meeting we'll have some information, hopefully, and some proposals to examine at that time. Yes, Jim?
My only question, Karen, it was unclear to me when I read this material, what exactly this service is, whether it's in addition to something we already get. I assumed that this is just a normal financial service we get every year because we're handling so much money as trustees. But it sounds to me that this is something in addition to what we already receive from our accounting firm.
Yeah.
Is that right, or is it something that's a substitute thereof?
It would be instead of our regular accountant doing it. This other firm would be doing that annual audit.
So changing a provider rather than adding an additional thing that we are, is that right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts about that? Okay, all right, let's move on to the next item. And this is, I just wanted to discuss this because I wanted to know if the board wanted a presentation next month. But no one's here to talk about this right now, but I just sort of wanted to get your thoughts on whether or not you would like to have someone come in and talk to us about this. We've been contacted by a firm called Commercial Energy. This person is a broker with Commercial Energy, I understand, and sort of, I don't know how to say this, arranges to have certain government bodies let their residents know about solar energy providers. And what they do, and I'm sorry if I sort of garble this because I don't fully understand exactly how this works, but they buy energy from solar farms, and I understand that people can voluntarily sign up to be part of this solar energy or get their energy from the solar farm. Again, I think I'm mangling this, but it's something along those lines. And if we had someone give a presentation, I'm sure that person would be able to give a better description of what it is. What would we have to do? We would probably, I think they would want our mailing list, such as for our newsletter, to send out information about the possibility of signing up for it. Now, no resident has to sign up for it, but if they do sign up for it, they get like a $100 gift card or something like that. And we get $100 too for each resident that signs up to do it. And so I think it's generally a good idea to let residents know about this. It's totally voluntary on their part. They can benefit, we can benefit. The only question that sort of remains in my mind is this is one particular solar provider company. And I don't know if we want to endorse this one or a different one, or if we want to shy away from appearing to endorse any of these companies. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to, we're not going to be able to say that we endorse them. We're not solar energy experts, but the very fact that this would be coming out to the residents of Maine Township would give the appearance that we're endorsing it in some ways, it would appear. So, my question to the board members tonight is, do you want a presentation about this at the next meeting? Jim?
Steve and I did not receive the thing that Kelly said.
This is mine, I brought this.
Oh, okay, great. So that wasn't in the materials.
There was nothing in the materials.
Okay.
I have a little file myself.
Okay.
I got one in the mail from Nexam, which is another provider. If you go online, there's like a lot of providers that do this. Niles just opened community solar electricity. They're going with someone called MC2, I think it is.
Okay.
So, other government bodies are doing this type of thing. And again, before I invited someone here, I just wanted to know, would you like to hear from someone about this in November?
Yeah, I had just brought some information because I had, someone had reached out to me from Solstice, which is another one.
Yeah.
And so they were interested in speaking to the township, so I think it would be good to hear some people. Because it sounds interesting, it's something that I would be interested just as a resident in learning more. From what I understand, I mean, I'm a little confused about the whole thing, about this solar farm, but like residents can sort of buy-in, I guess, and then the township itself, for the township buildings could buy in, and then you get a 20% discount.
That's true,
Um,
yeah, from what they tell us.
So basically, it like offsets the, I don't know, it's a little confusing. So it would be good, I think, to hear a presentation, and it sounds like, you know, they provide the service, you are helping the environment, and you are potentially getting a discount on your energy bill, so.
Yeah, I think it works similar to just like with ComEd. You can shop your service around
Yeah.
with a number of different energy providers. I think it works very much the same way, except they strictly purchase their power from solar
Yeah, they have
sources.
the solar farms.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna say. In the past, we would have, I guess she was a broker,
Well, you
and
know,
she would come and talk about and compare all of the companies, and then,
Yeah, I think that's what she was.
this woman that was contacting me is a broker too,
Okay.
so, and at first I thought she was just representing one company. But then in a subsequent email, it sounds like now she would represent several different solar companies and give us more information along those lines. So is that what you were looking for?
yeah, that's what we have done that we have done that in the past. For a while, we were doing it on an annual basis.
In 4 years, right.
Yeah. and
Or
we-
separate contracts.
That's for aggregation contracts.
Yeah, and it seems like that was similar.
Some of this can be tied in, most of these programs are aimed at residential users, so it's not directly tied to the aggregation program in a way.
Yeah.
Using the other times I've
Okay.
encountered it. It's more about trying to partner with them to produce or encourage solar programs.
Yeah, but as I recall, she would kind of go through the different various aggregation companies and compare them and give the rates and how they compare to ComEd, which was helpful. So is that similar? I don't really understand.
Sounds
It's not
like
the
it,
same,
sounds
but-
like it.
Well, I mean, why not explore it? I mean,
All right.
I think Home Depot, Karen, might have a class on that, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
They have people that sell it. They walk around and solicit you while you're walking around Home Depot to see if you'll enter in a contract. So I think the people that manage Home Depot know the various programs and how they can benefit people, the science of it, how the roof has to face the sun a certain amount of percentage of the time to soak up the energy. He was giving me a speech about it one day, so I think.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, we'll do that then. All right, the next item on the agenda is the discussion and possible vote on estimated general town fund, general assistance, and road and bridge levy ordinances for this year. So, Ed and I talked a little bit about this, and I'm going to turn to Ed again in a bit. But Dave, you want to just sort of give a little bit of a
Yeah,
overview?
take a vote real quick.
Yeah, particularly about the timing of passing our ordinance.
Okay. So I put a cover sheet on the levy. I actually just wrote the dates. So the estimated levy has to be passed by December 8th. I think I put November 8th. Estimated levy passed by December 8th, and the actual levy passed and on file with Cook County by December 28th. Our meeting actually is on December 28th. So that's why we're kind of doing everything a little bit early. So what I want to point out real quick, I know you don't have the budget in front of you, but our levy numbers are significantly lower than our budget numbers. And I would say around $1 million in town fund and about $500,000 in GA. That is because for the last few years, I lowered the levy about 15%, Trustee Jones is aware of this, about 15% in town fund and 15% in general assistance, plus we did abatements the last 3 years. The last 2 years, we did a $2 million abatement in town fund and another $2 million abatement in GA. We're receiving very, very, very little tax dollars in. I think this year we just received about $200,000, and in the past we received several million. So we're not really receiving much money. So right now I kept it flat for the estimated levy. This obviously can be changed when we pass the actual levy. And Supervisor Dunn can speak more on this. It is my personal recommendation that we go up to 4.9 because our savings are dwindling. I talked to our accountant today, and our savings are somewhere between 4 and 5 million. I think we're supposed to have about 1.5 years of operating expenses in our savings, and it's quickly dwindling. I don't recommend we keep it flat. Definitely, obviously, I don't recommend we do abatements. So that's my recommendation as administrator.
Okay.
So I can't speak on road bridge, that would be Commissioner Boubet.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. So again, what we have in front of us is a proposed levy that's identical to last year, correct?
Right.
Just keeping it the same.
So I kept it flat for now, just because we had no conversation about it. And this is the first time we're going through it. So I just wanted you just to be able to see some numbers. But I do recommend that we change it when we actually pass the actual levy.
Do you have a recommendation in mind? So we can-
4.9 increase.
So we have
Thanks,
basically,
4.9 increase then.
Right, we can't go above 5 here either.
we as a board can lower the levy, keep the levy the same, raise it up to 4.9% without a hearing, or we could do 5% or more if we did a hearing.
Correct.
So those are really our options. And Kim, you have a comment.
Well, I just wanted to mention that if you do go 4.9%, that's not necessarily what you're going to get back.
Right.
Because the county does their calculations and they most likely will not give you 4.9%. So if you hear 4.9%, you have to please keep in mind that it's not going to be 4.9%.
Right, it's like.
Cap back. Yeah, the PTEL, we can only go above whatever the CPI or 5% maximum or PTEL, so we'll get cap back. But we can also, if you go up to a higher levy, you might capture new growth, new EAV, so you can get, that's not part of that PTEL calculation. So going more above 5, you're probably going to get cap back anyways. But keeping it flat, you're not capturing that new EAV that has come onto the tax rolls over the past year.
Which we tried explaining ad nauseum in the past. Dan, how much did you say our tax revenue was for this year?
Unfortunately, we're at, I want to say about 250 to 300,000.
So exactly what we kept saying was going to happen.
Has happened. Has happened, as opposed to, yes.
Yes.
And I want to let the board know in the past, it was somewhere between 4 to 5 million. So we're getting nothing in.
Right.
Yeah, and GA nothing, because they abated everything. So GA is nothing.
Insanity.
Yeah.
So we just heard in the news that the Social Security recipients are receiving a 5.9% increase. So, and I can't remember what that is based on versus what, the PTEL calculation is, if it's the same bucket of...
Unfortunately not. Yeah, the PTEL is going to be the CPI. I don't know, I can't tell you off the top of my head what that's going to be, but it'll probably be certainly higher. But it's CPI, I think 5%, it's whatever's low. So it's going to be, I don't believe we're going to get 5.9%.
Yeah, okay, that's great. We have, again, we have just had this estimated levy tonight. Can you tell us about our authority to vary from the estimated levy when we meet in November, if we want something other than keep it exactly the same?
Certainly. So as long as we publish notice, that's why we're going to hold that hearing on the levy, and we can change it as we see fit before we adopt it. So we just have to have a tentative levy available for the public to inspect in advance of that. There's no obligation on us to adopt whatever that exact tentative levy was. The board can change it as they see fit before they adopt it.
And do we usually do a public hearing immediately before the board meeting?
I don't know if we've done it during the board meeting or...
I don't believe so, no. We do it with the budget, but not with the levy.
So during the levy, do we do it during the board meeting?
During the board meeting, yes.
Okay. It doesn't have to be separate, I guess.
It does not have to be separate, no.
Okay. All right, and did you want to address this, the levy? Because of course, one of the things that the board has in front of it tonight is the highway department levy.
Yeah, I mean, I could just make a brief statement if you'd like on highway department. After reviewing the previously passed levy ordinance and giving this process a lot of thought, I've ultimately decided to maintain the freeze on the tax levy For highway, so that there will be no increase for the upcoming fiscal year. Taking into account the many increases being shouldered by township residents at the moment, I feel that it is best not to add additional tax burdens on their plate. After looking at the consumer price index, because that's really all we got, there's just a couple numbers. Oil is up 33%, natural gas 21%, electricity 5.2%, with an average of 5.3% across the board increase. I say that I'm keeping it the same because looking back on previously submitted budgets and current reserve monies available, I feel as though the best course of action will be to utilize some reserve monies to offset the inflation cost increases that were not budgeted for previously, and to put some of those funds to work toward infrastructure improvements requested by township residents. I also plan on maintaining a healthy reserve to enable the highway department to respond to unforeseen events should they occur. And I will be presenting a 4-year plan of projects, which I will be submitting with the upcoming new budget ordinance that I will be bringing forward. That's it.
Okay, all right. What we have in front of us tonight is a flat levy for the road district too. So you have no objection to the town adopting that this evening. And of course, you also can change between now and the next board meeting if that's your opinion. But, you know, that's up to you. Whatever your recommendation is, you'll let us know at that time.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Does anyone have any questions or comments about? Yes.
I had a quick question, Karen, for Dana. Dana, the number you've given us on your handout, the $3.255 million figure, is that with the 4.9 increase, or is that something that is the past?
That's flat, and that's the exact levy from 2020, from last year.
I see. So we will.
I'll present the new levy in November with the increase.
Thank you. So that would be the old number
Correct.
for our commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so we will need, so we can pass the estimated levy tonight, which will enable us to adopt a final levy, hopefully, at the November meeting, which means that it will be taken care of on a timely basis before December 28th. An alternative is we can schedule an additional meeting, but I don't know if people have the time to do that in November or December. We also have another grant meeting too, so that's why I'm asking. So I would like to just sort of let the board members express any opinion they have about the levy in terms of keeping it flat, raising it, and if so, how much, or any other comments you wanted to make about that. If you have any time to think about it, that's okay. All right, okay, I'll move on unless there's any questions.
The only question I had was, it sounds like we have to do some type of a vote today to avoid an additional meeting prior to the November meeting.
Yeah, I think
right?
what we will need tonight
Okay.
is a motion to adopt the estimated levy, which
Very
is not binding.
Very good. That's what I wanted to
We have a
clarify.
draft in front of us, and we could stick with that or change it.
Okay.
So, since I'm not hearing any more questions right now, I will ask for a motion to adopt the estimated levy that you see before you for the general town fund and the general assistance fund. Do you have such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Or maybe we should do a roll call.
Yeah.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right. And I'm also going to ask for a motion to adopt the estimated levy for the highway department. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the road district levy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. May I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Sorry, Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
And Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So we are at the end of our printed agenda, with the exception of some official reports. So I want to give each official an opportunity to say if anything is new with what they've been doing. Asif, would you like to start? And would you like to start with the tour that we received yesterday afternoon?
I think that's what you planned, I think you should start telling.
What? You want me to start?
Yeah, I said you planned the tour and you invited me, so.
No, I think Marie actually planned the tour for us. But you know, if you want to talk about it again, or if you want to talk about something else, or skip ahead, or skip through.
It was nice, you know, we went to the Sabine Center. So Mr. Chaudhary, you know, he toured us the whole building, you know, he has a nice kitchen over there, they're having like a chef classes. And he showed us, actually he donated that one of the floor to our Prophet Muhammad about his from the birth to until the end of, you know, his life. So he explained about, you know, how he started preaching the Islam and about the Mecca and Medina. They show us about the picture and, you know, and it was a nice tour actually, you know, and very, I can say very educational about Prophet Muhammad. And he told us about other community service, you know, the people are using his building, you know, for some time. Maine Township has a program, so he gave the parking lot for the free parking, and some of the schools they're doing like a fire services over there, you know, so that's I can say, you know.
Okay, and you had a suggestion, and you actually moved forward with a suggestion for a suggestion box, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, that's what I want to thank you, that that you know, I yesterday actually tried to buy the box at Home Depot and this was not available. So I think Doreen ordered this box through Home Depot or I don't know. Amazon. So here's the box, you know, the picture, you know, which one I think Karen also approved it. And
right.
she likes it, this box.
It's a very reasonable price.
The affordable looking box.
And actually, this is not a complaint box, you know, this is a suggestion box. So anybody can suggest, you know, some customer come, they're happy with their services, so they can comment about our employee, you know, they can say, okay, so-and-so employee helped me, she's very great, you know. And if that person has a complaint, you know, then the supervisor know who is the employee who did not help the customer, you know. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
Oh, that's it, thank you.
Okay, fine. Jim, any report that you'd like to make?
Just I was looking at Marty Cook, I want to congratulate him, thank all the workers, of course, but especially Marty. I love his stories of recovery, when his success stories are really great. I love to hear people who are rehabilitated and who come back to life, and that's the story about Jacob is very good. So thank you, Marty, for your work.
All right. Anything you'd like to talk about? You don't have to talk about it.
I'm excited. On Thursday, I'm going to be going to, it's not the grand opening with Kevin Costner, but it is a ribbon cutting ceremony for officials and on Thursday for the Des Plaines Theater. So I'm going to be going to that, and the mayor will be there, and we'll get a tour.
I plan to be there too.
Oh, good, good. I think everybody's invited, so hopefully everyone will be there. It's going to be fun, so I'm excited. I wish Kevin Costner would be there, but
yeah. You have to buy a ticket to see it.
Yeah.
And I think the lowest one is $99.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
anyway,
That's it.
okay. Jim, anything you want to say?
I just want to, you know, I'm looking forward to that also. But I wanted to say that I wanted to remind everybody and extend an invitation, as we do every month, to our neighborhood watch meeting, which is next Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. So I hope that anybody interested will attend.
Thank you very much. I just have a few things. So our grant funding process is continuing. What I'm passing out to you right now is a piece of paper which just has a possible schedule for making our decision, for how, what dates we'll have in terms of moving through this decision-making process. Is there one more? But anyway, when we meet again, which will be very soon, on November 2nd, we can finalize this decision process. But this was a proposal that Rich came up with. It's not binding on us, but it's a place to start in terms of how we'll make this decision this year. Few events coming up. The COVID vaccine booster clinic will be here on November 8th. So I'm glad we're able to provide that to our members. You may have noticed from the sign up front, we received coats. Actually, I thought there were going to be used coats that were clean, but I'm hearing that some of them are actually new. There's a tag still on them that were donated to the Rotary, and they in turn donated them to Niles Township and to our township. So they are in the lower level. Doreen, are they in the open area or?
Well, they were inside our lounge, our employee lounge. We had it in the meeting room, but we have programs going on, so we had to move it out. So.
Okay, all right.
Some are outside the pantry, some are in the employee lounge.
Are they just adult sizes or are they children's sizes?
All men's, they're all men's.
Well, I think we only have 4XL left.
3XL, yeah, 4XL.
4XL, so.
All
Okay, so
box
well,
sizes.
that's good if they're going to take it.
Okay, all right. I also met with a couple women from Northwestern University who are doing a study about South Asian women and their high rate of heart attacks, which I didn't know was a thing, but apparently so. And they're they're doing a study to study the effects of more exercise among this population. And because we have a large population from Southeast Asia, they have contacted us, and we're putting that in. I think it's on. Is it on our website? I think it's on our website.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I think that they may be reaching out to members of our community. I don't know if I had that put on your place, but you can just take that for informational purposes. And let's see what else. So another thing I was wondering about is we have been conducting our meetings in this boardroom since late May. I think late May was the first one that was conducted here. But there's still also broadcast on Zoom. But I understand that we've had no one's asked to participate on Zoom for the last 3 meetings. And Rich, has anyone participating tonight?
Nobody tonight, no.
So that's 4 meetings.
Yes.
So I guess the question is, do we want to continue hosting these meetings on Zoom? They would, in any event, be recorded and put on YouTube, as I think they have been for some time. But I didn't know if you wanted to continue to put it on Zoom. I suppose the question that probably comes into your mind is there an expense to do this, or is it extra work to put it on Zoom? And perhaps, Rich, you can address that?
Sure. I mean, it's a little extra work, but nothing significant. We do live stream the meetings as well. So really the only advantage of having participation via Zoom is that someone could publicly participate in the meeting if they wanted. But if someone at home just wants to watch the meeting or part of the meeting, they can watch the live stream on YouTube without having the Zoom option.
If I can just add real quick to that, another change. So we do pay a yearly fee for Zoom. It's not much, it's a couple $100 a year. We use Zoom obviously in our other departments as well. When we're doing virtual programs. So we wouldn't give that up, we would still have the Zoom ability. When you see on the agenda that I do, obviously the first paragraph would change where I have the Zoom link. Obviously it wouldn't be on there, we would say that we're also doing it virtual. So, the wording on the agenda would change. But we do live stream it, like Rich said, on YouTube. We also obviously will always have the video on our website. That wouldn't change, either. So that would be the difference.
I don't know, any thoughts on that?
I'm fine with getting rid of the Zoom for now. If it's, as long as it's being live streamed and there is
If
an
it's not being
opportunity.
utilized, it's.
Right, and if nobody's,
And the videos are, we'll never take them down on the website for years.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay, I think we've run this long enough.
I hope we're not losing popularity, Karen.
I hate to tell you,
Spread the word out.
widely watched to begin with.
I think people are sick of Zoom personally.
Yeah, right, I agree.
And obviously, more people participated when we were doing it in person, not in COVID. So,
Right.
you know, it was different now in person.
Okay, so I think maybe we won't do this anymore on Zoom anyway. Certainly, again, it's going to be live streamed, but that will be one small change. And then finally, I attended the Township Officials of Cook County Supervisors Division meeting. Met with some of the other supervisors from around Cook County, which was very interesting to hear what other townships do in terms of services or, you know, the issues that they have. So that was worthwhile. I was actually in person, and it was nice to actually meet those people. Okay, I don't have any other announcements.
Just take a real quick report.
Yes.
I also attended the clerk's divisional meeting last month, and kind of the same. It was nice seeing everybody in person again, and kind of getting ideas and bouncing things off of each other was really nice to see everybody. And then I also attended along with Trustee Jones, our township blood drive. So that was nice. I heard it was a big success, so congrats on putting that together, Doreen.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for doing that.
They sold me on I donated what they call super red blood cells or whatever. And I didn't know that entailed a little bit bigger of a needle, which I was like, whoa. I was okay, but I had to stay there for about a half an hour from start to finish because it takes longer. But happy to do it if it helps.
Thank you. All right, unless there's any other announcements.
I just have
Yes,
one.
yes,
I'll be quick. There's a lot of tired people out here, so. Just want to say that 2021 annual road resurfacing project was completed earlier than expected in September. I wanted to thank the residents of Maine Township for responding to our highway department report card and for the valuable feedback into improvements we can make at the highway department and the township. An interesting statistic that I took away from reviewing the responses is that 100% of the respondents were in favor of utilizing reserve monies for necessary infrastructure improvements, upgrading the LED streetlights where necessary, and surprise, surprise, expanding recycling events to cover more difficult to recycle items. So I hope to implement at least some of these recommendations when possible in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn now?
Yes, I'll make a motion, let's adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
And a roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you all for attending this evening.